Hello dear students, welcome to the video tutorials of class 12th business studies. We are doing chapter number 3 business environment. I hope you have already seen part 1 of this video. Today we are starting with the second part of this video. So the topics which we have already covered are: first is meaning of business environment, second features or characteristics of business environment. Then we have also done dimensions of business environment, and we have done 5 dimensions: social, legal, economic, political and technological. And I told you to remember these 5 dimensions. There is an acronym SLEPT. So today we are going to start with the next topic. So now let us understand why it is important for businessmen to understand business environment or to keep a check on the business environment. So there are total 6 points of importance which we are going to do. So the first point is it enables the firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Now what do you mean by opportunities is it refers to positive external trends or changes that will help a firm to improve its performance. So whenever business environment changes, it can be a favorable thing for you or unfavorable. When the change in business environment is there in your favor, it is positive and you are getting some profit or benefit out of it, then it is called as opportunity. Early identification of opportunity help an enterprise to be a first one to exploit them instead of losing them to competitor. So if you are keeping a check on environment, you will be able to identify the opportunities and you are going to get a first mover advantage. Means before your competitors know about that opportunity, you are going to go and grab that opportunity first. And whosoever grab the opportunity first, they are the people or businesses who get the maximum advantage. And to show you the example is this is the Maruti Suzuki 800 car. This is the first small car which was introduced in India. So Maruti Suzuki was keeping a check on the environment. They realized that Indian customers are looking for a small car because their family size is small and the fuel prices are rising. So they were looking for small car. So who was the first one to identify this opportunity is Maruti Suzuki, and they launched this small car Maruti Suzuki 800, and they were the first one to introduce a small car in the market, and for a very long period they were the leader and they earn a large amount of profit due to this. All the other small cars, they came much later. So which business is going to make a maximum profit is who is going to grab the opportunity first. So if you're keeping a check on environment, it is beneficial for you because you will be able to identify the opportunities before your competitors. Second point is it helps the firm to identify threats and early warning signals. So now what do you mean by threat is it refers to change in external environment trends that will hinder the firm's performance. So it is opposite of opportunities. If there is a change in environment and that change is unfavorable to your business, or it will hamper the working of your business, or it is negative, then in that case we say it is a threat. And if you are keeping a check on environment, you will be able to identify these threats on time, and it will serve as a warning signal for you, and you will make some preparation in advance to face those threats. So it is very important for businessmen to keep a check on the environment and look for all the possible threats and make a preparation for them so that they are prepared to face those threats. For example, in 1991, Government of India allowed MNCs to enter our country and do the business. So this was a warning signal for Indian companies, and they knew that now they have to work on their quality, they have to work on their technology in order to compete with MNC. So all the businesses which were keeping a check on environment, they made some planning in advance as to how they will compete with MNCs, because these MNCs, they have more funds, they have a better technology. Indian companies which were keeping a check on environment, they were able to make some plans in advance to face those challenges. Now we have done 2 points. I need to tell you that there can be a word which can be used for importance of understanding business environment, that is environmental scanning. What do I mean by environmental scanning is the process by which firm monitors the relevant environment to identify the opportunities and threats. This is called as environmental scanning. So when you're keeping a check on environment to know what are the possible opportunities, what are the possible threats, this process is called as environmental scanning. So when you're getting a question of importance of understanding business environment, you may get it in a form where they are asking why is environmental scanning important. Third point is it helps in tapping useful resources. So business take input from environment. So do you all agree that when you're doing business you need certain inputs, and these inputs are finance, machine, raw material, power, labor, water. These are all provided by business environment. And what is the work of businesses? They convert this input into output and give it back to the environment. So whatever output is produced by business, it is given to the environment, and the output can be there in the form of goods and services for customers, payment of taxes to government, return on financial investment to the investors. So basically business is taking input from the environment, converting it into output and giving it back to the environment. So this process can be done better if you have a knowledge of environment, if you know what changes are taking place in the environment. So this process of tapping useful resources will happen only when you are keeping a check on the environment. Next is it helps in coping up with rapid changes. So business environment is very dynamic. We have done this in features. The political environment keep on changing, legal environment changes, taste and preferences of consumer keeps on changing. So in order to effectively cope up with dynamic environment, manager must understand and examine the environment and develop a suitable course of action. So you cannot change the environment. So whatever changes are taking place in the environment, you have to accordingly adapt to those changes and develop certain course of action where you are dealing with those changes effectively. Next is it helps in planning and policy formulation. So environment is source of both opportunities and threats for business enterprise. So whenever you are making your plans, whenever you are making your policies, you have to always keep in mind what are the opportunities, what are the threats, because if you are not keeping that in mind, your plans and policies will be of no use. So understanding of business environment and its analysis can be basis for deciding the future course of action, that is your planning or your training guidelines for decision making or your policies. So all your plans and policies, they'll be effective only when you are keeping a check on the environment and you are taking into consideration all the possible opportunities and threats. I want to give you this example of ITC company. Do you know the full form of ITC Limited? It is Indian Tobacco Company. This is a company which started with a tobacco sale. They were keeping a check on the environment and they felt that there is a boom in a particular industry. It diversified into tourism and opened hotels. It diversified into food product range, then even the clothing line, and also they entered into making of classmate notebooks and stationery. Last is it helps in improving performance. So keeping a check on environment improves the present performance as well as future performance of business. So whenever a business is keeping a check on environment, they are able to earn profit, and it assures that they are going to get good profits in future also. It is very important to keep a check on environment. There were certain businesses who were not able to survive because of lack of knowledge of what is happening in the environment. I want to give you an example. This was a camera which used to be there before digital cameras. Maybe your parents will know this camera was of brand Konica, and there used to be a roll of codec which we used to put in a camera, and only 36 pictures can be clicked in one roll. So these were the very famous companies before the digital cameras came. But with the change in environment, by early 2000, there was a decline in film photography, where Konica merged with another company, and later on they exit the photography business, and even the Kodak company filed a bankruptcy in 2012. So the companies which are not able to adapt and change according to the changing environment, or who are not able to keep a check on the environment, they can't survive and they cannot earn profit, and they have to either suffer loss or they have to exit that business. We have done the 6 points of importance. First is, it enables a firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Second, it helps the firm to identify threats and early warning signal. And if you can see, these 2 points are very interlinked to each other. Here you are identifying opportunities, here you are identifying threats. Then it helps in tapping useful resources. Then it helps in coping up with rapid changes. It helps in planning and policy formulation, and it helps in improving performance. Now let us revise the points of importance of understanding business environment. So let us see this case study. I told you, whenever you're doing a case study, first you have to read the question below that case study, and then you should start with reading of the case study. So I'm reading the question first. Identify the 2 points of importance of understanding business environment from above information. So now let us read this case study. A leading FMCG company. Now what do we mean by FMCG is fast moving consumer goods. So all the goods which we used in our daily routine, like bread, milk, biscuits, they come under the category of FMCG products. So a leading FMCG company manufacturing potato chips as its premium snack feels the need to stay ahead of its competitors. Keeping in mind the fact that consumers are health conscious, the company was the first one to introduce variant of finger snacks including multigrain, pulses with regional flavors. These variants are liked by consumers and their sales doubled in 6 months. So you have to identify the 2 points of understanding of business environment. So you can get these type of questions in exams where you have to either quote the line and then identify, or you have to identify and explain those points. So if you can see this line which I have underlined, company was the first one to introduce the variant of finger chips. So from this line we can see the point of importance which can be identified is, it enables the firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Then I have also underlined this line, and their sale doubled in 6 months. So from this line we can see the point of importance identified is, it helps in improving performance. So now let us try this case study. So I am reading the question first. By quoting the line, identify and explain 2 points of importance of understanding business environment discussed above. And this is a 4-marker question. Now I'm reading the question. The government is considering a pioneer proposal to launch a single debit cum credit card to increase the ease and usage for the consumers. The card, which will be called as National Mobility Card, will have unique advantages for making payments in metro, buses, parking, and making transactions during visit abroad. After hearing this news, Megabank decided to launch a Mega Mobility Card on similar lines so that they could be first to exploit the opportunity arising due to increasing trend of digitization. In order to improve their performance, they laid down a plan to hire more people in their marketing department and prepare guidelines to train their sales force to market the new card facility being launched by bank. By quoting the line, you have to identify any 2 points. So if you can see this line, after hearing this news, Mega Bank decided to launch Mega Mobility Card on similar lines so that they could be first to exploit the opportunity. So they are the first one to enter this market or to exploit this opportunity. So this point is identifying opportunity and getting first mover advantage. So this point is there. So second, if you can see this line, in order to improve their performance, they lay down a plan to hire more people in their marketing department and prepare guidelines to train their sales force to market the new card facility being launched by bank. So from this line we can see that this point is helps in planning and policy formation. Plus you can see there are some other points also which can be identified, although they have told us to identify only 2 points, but I can see more points also. If you can see, in order to improve their performance, so this point is also there as one of the point of importance, improving performance. Even if you can see this line, arising due to increasing trend of digitization, so even this can be written as point of importance. This point will be helps in adapting to dynamic environment. So there are 4 points of importance which I can identify, but in exam you have to write any 2 points. So now I'll show how will you write this, because only knowing answer is not enough. It is very important how you present your answer in exam. So I'll tell you how you will present this answer. So here I have made 3 columns. Why I have made 3 columns? We can see here. Here the question is quoting the line, identify and explain. So they need 3 things. So what I have done is I have made 3 columns. One is point of importance identified, then line quoted, and then explanation. So the first point is it enables the firm to identify opportunities and getting the first mover advantage. Then here I am going to quote the line which help me to identify this point, and then here I am going to write the explanation. Similarly, the second point which I have identified is it helps in assisting in planning and policy formation. So here I'll write the line quoted, and here I am going to write the explanation. This is actually a question from CBSE board sample paper. So the marks allotted are as follows: half mark for quoting the line, half mark for identifying the point, and 1 mark for explanation. So 1 point is for 2 marks. So 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So you have to be careful how you are presenting your answer. When we are checking the paper, sometimes the explanation points and the line quoted, they are all mixed up, and it is very difficult for us to identify them separately and check. So if you can make columns like this and explain, it will be very easy for the person who is checking your paper. The topics which we have covered in this video are importance of business environment, and I told you instead of word importance of business environment, they can also say why is environmental scanning important. So I hope all these topics are clear to you. So we'll be doing the remaining topics in the next video, which will be our last video of this chapter. So till then, I wish you all a happy learning. Bye.